Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of In the Springs. I'm your host, Ryan Lowry. Tonight's episode was recorded at the legendary Loonees Comedy Corner right here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Had a chance to sit down with a fine young stand-up comedian out of Austin, Texas. The lovely and talented Mr. David Tobey is in the Springs.
Well, David, appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you. So now, is this your first time to the Springs?
No, this is, I've actually lost count of how many times I've been out here. I've probably been out here 5 or 6 times.
No
But,
kidding.
yeah.
Now, have you done Denver as well, or?
Nope, never performed in Denver.
Okay.
So that's kind of weird.
And now, are you on the road with Steve Hurst right now? or
No,
you guys
it's the first time I've met him also.
Oh, you're kidding,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's brand new. So I was kind of that happens all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll run into somebody, you've never.
Well,
met
based
before.
on my internet research of your comedy career, you and Steve seem pretty opposite in terms of style and
That's
affect
fair.
and-
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a crazy man, and I'm pretty straight-laced. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just stand there and tell jokes kind of guy.
So now you're based out of Dallas?
Austin.
Austin, Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you were out in Vegas for a while too.
Yeah, I got my comedy start in Vegas.
Okay.
I was out there for my wife's work, and I didn't have anything to do, so I was like, well, I'll just try. One guy I did know said, I don't know too many people in town, so I'm just going to go take this stand-up comedy class just to meet some people. And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. And then I didn't have a job to quit, so I was unemployed, and I was just like, well, screw it, I'll just go for it.
Now, how long ago was that? When did you get started?
It was about 6.5 years ago, so it's
Okay.
been a while, but or a little while, not very long.
So what was the first stage experience for you?
It was pretty good.
What was the setting? And
It was at the Bonkers Comedy Club in the Palace Station Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, and it was open mic on a Sunday night, and I went up with shorts and flip-flops, which is a big fat no-no, but I didn't know.
Note to self.
Yeah, you just don't know.
Right.
And I had 2 kind of stories that I had kind of just planned out of saying these 2 stories in a 5-minute thing, and I got some decent laughs on one of them, and got off stage, and a couple of the more seasoned guys said, that was pretty good for your first time, and you should consider moving forward. And then I took that class, and not to be braggadocious, but I would just look around the room and go, oh my gosh, I'm way funnier than all these people. I mean, I think I am, am I really? And then, I just, like I said, I didn't have a job to quit, so I was like, let's screw it, let's just go.
And I think that's the one nice thing about doing comedy is, like you said, not to be braggadocious, but
Yeah.
when you're on stage, if they're laughing at your stuff, it's like, this must be, you know what I mean? So to
Yeah.
get that first laugh and response, there's no, well, did they think I was funny, or how did that?
Yeah, no, there's direct feedback.
Yeah.
And you say that, but there's plenty of comics out there that it's easy to be delusional about it. Like you see them walk off stage and go, oh man, I just murdered, and it's like, what were you watching?
Right.
So I was very cautious about that, because
Yeah.
I was like, well, I feel like I did really well, and so it's like, but that guy thinks he did really well too.
Right.
So did I really do well? I really tried to stay objective about it.
Yeah.
It's like when someone tells you your kid's cute, you're like, is he? Because I think he is.
Right.
But if you're saying,
Yeah.
are you just being polite? I don't know.
So when did you reach that tipping point where it's like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be how I'm going to make my living, is getting on stage and telling jokes.
I'd made that decision really early on, like obnoxiously early on. And I took that class and I started doing open mics, and I didn't like them. It wasn't very much fun. And I got some pay.
Now, you didn't like the class, or you didn't like the
Open mics.
Gotcha,
Yeah, open
okay.
mic experience is pretty rough.
Yeah.
I made friends with the house MC at Bonkers Comedy Club, and he started letting me do guest spots in the real paid shows. That was a huge boon, because
Yeah.
it was like, these are real audiences, and
Friday, Saturday night.
yeah, you're not trying
Yeah.
to entertain other comics, at this awful open mic. You're going up 26th or whatever.
Right.
And so this is like a real show, and it was exponentially better audience.
Yeah.
And so I milked that camel for everything I could get out of it, and then that guy went back out on the road, and I lost that connection. So I just emailed every comedy club in Vegas and said, you know, it was something real obnoxious too, like, I'm in town, so let me know when you want me to show up or something. I mean, it was really terrible. And this one guy gave me a call back. His name's Joe Lowers. He had his own show in Las Vegas, and he let me come out, do some guest spots, and then he started teaching me how to MC. And then
That was at the Las Vegas Comedy Show?
The Las Vegas
Okay.
Comedy Show. And he started letting me MC occasionally, and then I would just show up every night, whether I was scheduled to or not.
Yeah.
And one day it happened, somebody flaked out.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they took the MC, bumped him up to the feature spot. I got to MC with my crappy 5 minutes of, you know, material.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody starts out crappy.
Right.
And then he's at the end of the show, he said, well, I tell you what, anytime you're down here, I'll let you host. And I was like, oh, sweet. And I didn't miss a show for 18 months. And this was 5-night-a-week kind of show.
Holy cow.
And so I ramped up from 5 really crappy minutes to 30 okay minutes, and then I started hitting the road. And
So how far into it were you when you started actually going on the road?
year and a half.
Oh, man, you were flying through.
Yeah,
that.
it was kind of stupid, and you know, it's obnoxiously fortuitous for me. I mean, I know plenty of really funny comics who are doing it,
Right,
but they
right.
have a full-time job. They can only go to a open mic once a week, and you know, they're doing it 5 years, and they're just now starting to get that first paid gigs,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah.
So as far as, as far as, you know, actually getting on the road, what is like, and this is kind of a cliche comedy question, but what is some of the worst show, like you show up and you have to stand on the pool table and they've got the boom box for the microphone. I mean, what's one of the marquee moments where you're like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, that was, there's been a couple of rough ones. One was in a bar in El Paso, and it was the first time they'd ever done comedy.
First red flag.
They left all the TVs on.
Oh,
They had many pool tables that they didn't stop
Right,
doing
right.
that. Their microphone PA system sounded like New York subway. Like I couldn't even understand myself, and I'm the one saying the words.
right.
So,
And then were you obligated, I got to do 30 minutes?
yeah,
or-
yeah, you're contractually obligated to do.
Yeah.
But the headliner I was friends with, and he was like, just do as much as you can stand, and
Right,
then
right.
get out of the way, and I'll do the rest. So, you know, I ended up playing. I lowered the mic away from my face because you just couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
And I played to these 5 tables that were in my immediate vicinity and just projected as best I could over the guys playing pool and the football game that was going on the television, because why would you turn those off
Oh,
during
yeah,
a show?
absolutely.
But it was really funny. The headliner, while I was on, took video of this horrific show that was taking place and then emailed it to the booker who booked us there, and he went, oh my gosh, where are you at? This is awful. And he was like, this is your room.
Oh my God, so he had no idea what
He
he
had
was
no
getting
idea.
into.
Yeah, he, you know.
So now do you tailor your material based on the crowd? Because I kind of get the impression, and I don't mean this like as a backhanded thing, but you're kind of clean. Like most of your material is sort
yeah,
of
it's,
family, or not family oriented, but about married with children and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's I mostly just don't curse.
Yeah. What the fuck, dude? Why don't you?
You know, it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. It's just someone told me early on that, you know, the dirtier you are, the harder it is to get paid work,
Without a
because
doubt.
the cleaner you are, the more just open doors there are. So
Yeah.
I just kind of tried to skew that direction anyway.
So it was a conscious decision where you were going to try to
Yes.
keep that.
Yeah, it was a business game plan.
Yeah.
And I do talk. I mean, I talk about some racy topics. I just don't say bad words in the middle of it. So
Right,
I mean,
right.
it's I don't know, but it is about wife and family and crap I find annoying on TV. I mean, it's nothing. You know, it's Gaffigan-esque.
Nice.
Ray
Yeah.
Romano, Seinfeld. You know, just
That's
this
a
is
great wheelhouse
stupid.
to be in, though.
This is stupid stuff that bothers me. So let me mock it for a while, and
Yeah.
that's my act. So.
Well, you know, and it's interesting because I think a lot of people think that to do clean comedy is more challenging than to do raunchy comedy. Like raunchy comedy is low-hanging fruit, and if you just go up and drop the F-bomb 40 times, it's funny somehow. And I don't know, I mean,
Well, it can be. If it's something's funny and then you make it a little dirty, it's exponentially more funny.
right.
But yeah, it is kind of a easier. I don't know. I say that, and there's some brilliant, filthy comedians that I know
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
that are. You know, I'm not anywhere hopeful to get as funny as they are, but. you know, it is. I mean, it's more challenging for
Yeah.
sure. But you know, paychecks are bigger, so that's cool.
Well, one of the other things that I had, doing a little bit, I mean, you and I haven't met, so I just did a little research
Yeah,
online.
that's fine.
You're part of a podcast called Eating It,
Eating It podcast.
and it looks like it's relatively new.
Yeah, we're
And I listened to a couple episodes, and it's really well done.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I just, what was that all about?
I have a good friend, Andy Forster, lives in Raleigh, North Carolina, and him and I became pretty good friends. And we started just talking about all these restaurants we liked.
From being on the road? And-
Yeah,
okay.
going on. Yeah. Oh, well, man, this one time we were in, you know, and then Nashville, and we named off this place. Oh, yeah, I've eaten there, and you know, so we just tried to. It's turned into more like this diners, drive-ins, and dives, but it's two funny people doing it instead of welcome to Flavortown Guy Ferretti. So who we like to mock.
Well, there goes
often.
that endorsement. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, there's no way. No, it's but it's fun. We like eating, but we also like talking comedy. And you know, sometimes when you go do comedy, you eat it on stage. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
that was kind of the gist of
So
the.
now, do you try to watch your diet when you're on the road, or you
No,
use fast
no,
food
no, no.
crap and fast?
Well, I try to go to places that are unique to the area. Like
Nice.
right here in Colorado Springs, there's a place called London Soul Food, and it's on the corner of Circle and Airport. And I'm going to review that in this next podcast.
I'm
but-
embarrassed to say I've never heard of
well,
it.
it's tiny. It's a tiny hole in the wall,
London
and it's
soul food.
and so I go there, and I'm the only customer because I got there right at 11 because I'm starving. And there's one lady behind the counter, and I start talking to her, just you know, pumping her for as much information about the restaurant as I can. That's London.
And it's
So
her joint.
yeah, it's her joint. So of course she gives me all kinds of information, and it was fun. And the food is fantastic, so I
Nice,
really
man.
recommend it. It was really yummy.
And that's pretty bold when you're on the road to eat local, because Wendy's, you know you're going to get Wendy's.
Yeah.
McDonald's, you know you're going to get. But when you go to a place you don't know,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
really
you have no
rolling the
idea.
dice,
Yeah,
man.
sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's fun to discover those things, and honestly, some of the better stories come out of places that you end
Oh,
up
for
hating.
sure.
So it's like, oh, oof, this was brutal.
Nice, man. Well, I appreciate you taking some time. Now, where can folks find you online, and what do you got coming up? You plug any dates or anything like that? or-
Yeah, next week I'll be in Shenanigans in Killeen, Texas, with April Macy. That's a brand new club by Fort Hood, so hopefully it'll be a crap load of rowdy Army boys.
Oh, very cool.
And I can't remember after that, but you can check out all my dates at davidtobeycomedy.com.
Okay.
And of course, subscribe to the Eating It podcast. And,
Nice, nice.
You know, we'll do some cross
And then
promoting.
Twitter, folks follow you on
Oh
Twitter
yeah,
as well?
at Toby1Comedy or at Toby1Comedy.
Terrific.
Yeah. So
Excellent.
yeah, follow me.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming out.
Awesome. It was
Nice
fun.
meeting you.